Fly ball left field deep. Toward the wall, and it is over and out. It is a grand slam home run for Howard. Here's Maggott in 2-1 pitch. Inside, 3-1. Oh, boy. Danny Wheat's coming out to talk to Nolan. That's not good.
And Danny turns to Kevin Kennedy, and that's
finished.
it.
Oh, boy.
I just hope this isn't the way it ends.
The Ryan Express has made its last stop. The no-hit king and all-time strikeout leader ended his 27th season, the longest run in baseball history, when his elbow went out in Seattle. He sat down this week with Mark Schwartz to discuss how he maintained his power pitching dominance. Our Sunday night conversation with the man once described by Jim Murray as John Wayne in cleats.
I think at one time I was probably as dominating as there was in the league.
Nolan, 27 seasons in the big leagues. No one else has done it. Just the longevity alone, how much does that mean to you?
I think the older I get, the more pride I have in that. In the fact that I've been able to maintain my style of pitching throughout my career.
So what's the secret?
Oh, it has to be genetics, and it has to be the fact that I didn't sustain any injuries that took away from my natural ability.
Nolan Ryan is the 20th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to win 300 games.
I've never collected any memorabilia of my own except the strikeout balls in increments of 500. My boys have collected cards, and they had to go out and buy them. And when I was, the first couple of years I was with the Mets, I probably threw away 200 or 300 rookie cards because kids would send them to you with no return address, and so you had no means of getting them back to you. They'd write you and ask you to sign their card, but they wouldn't put any means of getting back to them as far as a return address. So at the end of the year, when I cleaned my locker out, I didn't keep that stuff. I just threw them all away. And, you know, I never dreamed that they would have the value that they have now.
And you threw hundreds of them out.
Yeah, I would say I threw a couple hundred out.
That's another ranch for you, isn't it?
Well, I'd like to have them right now.
Last month, when you hit Robin Ventura and the brawl broke out against the White Sox, after that, and after the smoke cleared, what surprised me was all the reaction around the league that, yeah, I'm glad Ventura charged him. Charging him is like charging Elvis. Jack McDowell said, it's about time. The umps are gutless to do anything about it with Nolan Ryan. It's like he's a god or something. There was a lot of hostility directed in your direction.
Well, there wasn't a lot. There was a couple that got a lot of exposure. Jack McDowell, and so that whole situation was an overkill. I think that if you went back and asked Robin about it, he probably wished that he hadn't done it. And I personally wish that situation would have never happened, but that's part of the game, and it happened.
Do you think that McDowell, though, had a valid point that the umps do protect you and that there is a double standard?
In fact, I think it's the other way around. I think the umps probably are more stringent as far as the strike zone with me, because I don't think they want the attention that, hey, they're giving Nolan Ryan advantage of the strike zone because of his age or whatever.
You know, after your no-hitter against Oakland 3 years ago, Tony La Russa said, I've got 8 or 10 baseballs here with scuff marks on them. Cito Gaston has accused you of scuffing up the baseball. He said no changeup can move that way unless it's defaced. How do you react to that?
Well, I think that came back to my days in Houston when there was so much of that back in the Mike Scott era. I think a lot of people see my changeup and they react to it that ball, there's something wrong with it. And when I throw it right, it works more as a sinker screwball, and it certainly has been a big impact pitch for me. I think at my age, doing what I've done brings skepticism sometimes.
Is cheating something you would never do?
Well, you have to realize that in the game, whether it's a balk move whether it's a phantom double play. Those things are part of the game. Now, when you say cheating, there's that gray area, and using pine tar to help your curveball, stuff like that. Those are things that are done in the game that are accepted as part of the game. So I wouldn't sit here and tell you, no, that I wouldn't do those things.
Including scuffing the ball?
Right, at times. But I don't do that.
But you have done it at times?
No.
But would you tell me if you had?
No, I wouldn't tell you if I had.
That's it! Number 7 is in the books. The remarkable Ryan has done it again.
You've probably been asked a million times, but how would you like to be remembered?
I don't even think about that.
You know you'll be remembered.
I don't even think about it. You know, people will remember you for whatever it is they want to remember you for. You know, you don't control that, and I don't think about that. I just go about my business the way I feel like I should, and however people want to remember me is fine.
Seems like the only person who doesn't